quiet seaside town, an evil lain to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tabletop Gold, your weekly dose of... Do you hate it when people... Okay, I'm sorry to say to myself so quickly here.
Let's get into
when
it.
People are like, your weekly dose of the hottest talk in radio. You know what I'm talking about? When people talk about like a show as though it's a dose of something.
I don't hate it. It's just very dated.
It's very dated. It's what they used to do back in the day. And
It's
now
like
nobody does it
The
anymore.
morning shows of the 90s.
Yes.
Or the drive time shows.
I also feel like Talk Soup probably used it as like your daily dose of all
Oh,
the...
yeah.
Remember
I
Talk
love
Soup?
Talk Soup. That was a great show.
Right?
Yeah. There it is. And here I am. I'm Lars Casteen. Welcome to the show. It's a tabletop role-playing game podcast, is what I was trying to say before I so rudely interrupted myself. I'm joined today, as always, by our Matt Humphreys.
Good dose time.
Good dose time. Thank you. Perfect. Zoe Chernicoff is here.
Good trace time.
Good trace. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Robin Lange is here.
Good soup time.
Good soup time.
It is soup
weather
time.
is
this time
It
of year.
actually is a
Older.
great soup time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about soup for just 1 second. David the Tin Man Chernicoff is here.
I'm just struggling. Do I pick up the Spanish thing or do I need
Yeah.
to yes and the soup thing?
I know.
And it's making
it's
my
tough.
head is spinning around on its around and around on its axis, and smoke is coming out.
This
of
is
my,
basically the trolley problem, but for like just saying something stupid at the beginning of a podcast,
yeah.
right?
Good trolley time.
Good trolley time. Yeah, so I enjoy soup, but we're not going to talk about it today. We're going to get into our podcast real quick, but there's something that we're going to talk about because David and Zoe have been watching a television program, a famous television program that I haven't watched in quite some time, and that I think people might have some thoughts on. David and Zoe, whichever one of you wants to talk, what is this show that you've been watching, and why have you been watching it, and how do you feel about it? Thank you.
Well, Lars, I guess the best way to describe the show would be to describe its principal characters.
Okay.
In a few words, I would say they're creepy.
Oh.
Mhm.
They're kooky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
They're all a little spooky.
Is it spooky?
No.
No.
No, this
Well,
is, I don't
they
know.
are
song
spooky,
lyrics.
though.
This
I
is
think
always,
that's
this is
reasonable.
always like song lyrics
I
dyslexia.
genuinely thought it was spooky. Kooky? Is it kooky?
They're creepy and the kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky.
They're all together ooky, yeah.
So I was with you. I thought spooky was
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
can all snap a bunch of
Okay,
times
let's
and
try
make
it.
the edit really hard for
Okay,
Lars.
let's this is how
Slate.
we're okay. You're about to hear how bad the sync is on
Who's
our recording.
gonna
Let's
do
go.
the
Everybody clap.
cue
We're gonna
in?
do the. I'm gonna do da 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 da, and then we're gonna
Okay.
go snap
Yeah,
snap.
perfect.
Let's say
Okay, here we go. Da 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 da. Great.
That actually works
so you-
great.
That seemed okay. So you've been watching The Addams Family, right?
We have the original Addams Family from back in the day, I believe 1964.
Why have you been watching it, and how does it hold up? How do you like it?
The best kind of distillation of the why is just like streaming services suggest stuff and they suggest it right out loud in front of your kids, and then you kind of scramble to turn interest in a thing into content
Well,
that is age appropriate.
Sure.
also, the time we're recording this is spoiler a pre-Halloween world, and our kids were interested in Halloween content, and there's really only so much of that. And like they're young enough, they don't want scary.
Yeah.
So like
Yes.
it checked a bunch of boxes, and the algorithm knew that, and it preyed on us.
The exact sweet spot of
spooky and ooky, but not actually like haunting or terrifying, is kind of when you have seasonally oriented children, whose dreams you don't want to completely despoil. So it's actually been pretty good.
You like it. You like the show. You like the program.
It's pretty solid Halloween, like non-terrifying Halloween content. It's broadly benign. It is, I believe, rated TVMA just because Gomez Adams constantly is smoking a cigar.
Uh-huh.
And we've watched probably between a half dozen and a dozen episodes of the show over the course of October in the lead up to Halloween, because it's like pretty low key and there's plenty of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys like those movies?
They were great.
Yeah. Raul
Yeah.
Julia, man. What a amazing and Angelica Houston.
Yeah. Iconic.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the movies, interestingly, I mean, both of the lead actors are amazing,
Yeah.
but sillier. And the premise itself, I mean, obviously, like, it is a heightened premise of these people who are sort of committed to goth, but in a very earnest and not in your face kind of way.
Yeah.
But like the premise is less silly, and as a result, the leads can be more silly. Whereas in the original, the leads are playing it straight, but the world around them is like just deeply off the walls.
Right.
So like the normal people on the Addams Family TV series, they're all like wacky and stuff. Like the people that are not supposed to be. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Zoe?
and just like the house is like there's a bit with a noose that you pull to call for lurch, and it shakes the whole house every time.
It's
Right.
very
But this just like
campy.
persists like 15 times an episode. Someone and like the normie who's visiting the house shakes and feels shaken by this thing and is like put off. Like it, but
Yeah.
it just it's like. I mean, that's not that funny, right? But it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about
It's a perfect
the mindset of the 60s that birthed the Addams Family. And the Munsters, they actually premiered like the same week.
yeah.
These two shows.
Interesting.
Oh.
Like within 6 days of each other, I think was the stat that I read
That's
recently.
funny.
And
That's
also
wild.
Dark Shadows. Like
Oh,
there
yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
like gothic revival in the 60s.
I rewatched that Addams Family movie recently and was like struck at how much I loved not just those individual performances of Raul Julia and Angelica Houston, but like they love each other in that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Don't
they're
torture
so
yourself,
devoted to
Gomez.
each other
That's
and
fine.
like they care so deeply for each other. And I was just like, I don't think I've seen that in a movie before. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a movie where a married couple like love each other.
Yeah.
It was like
basically is-
shocking to me.
It basically is what makes the show work. It's just that there's this like and beating heart, like this engine of warmth. There's like this ongoing nuclear reaction at the heart of it. Like it makes everything go.
Yeah.
It's incredibly campy and over the top, and there are a lot of sight gags as
Yeah.
well. It's like, the thing, the hand like popping out from stuff, and Lurch the butler looking mad. But there's also all these practical effects. There's like the plants that move, and like Zoe's saying, the camera shakes every time they pull a bell, and all of this stuff. And it made me realize because there's a laugh track, and one of the first things we had to contextualize for the kids was what a laugh track was, because they never
Yes.
heard one before.
That's why.
And I realized that the laugh track is instrumental to making a show like that, because they couldn't do it in front of a live audience the way that the practical effects are shot. Like you have to have these standalone shots with stuff framed out in order to do that and cut it together in a different way, which caused me to then look up. I became convinced it might be the first show that ever had a laugh track. It's not, and it's not by like a long time.
Yeah.
But so I also briefly tippled down this like history of the laugh track rabbit hole, and now I'm convinced that like that there should be a documentary about that. Like
Yeah,
it's,
I
it'd be
would
a
think,
love
great
that.
There's gotta
documentary.
be.
I think it's
Totally.
interesting enough.
I
Yeah.
would love
Someone on
that.
YouTube must have made that. There's so many good
Yeah.
documentaries on YouTube.
Speaking of things that are creepy and ongoing and involve monsters,
Hey, nice work.
let's
Yeah.
get into it. Let's play.
Yeah.
Like
You
butter.
threaded that needle.
Smooth like butter.
You're back in the town of Otari, gathering supplies and information to help you on your next trip into the dungeons below Gauntlet Keep. You've visited with the surviving members of the squad of Star Watch officers from Absalom, who it seems are preparing to return home and leave the rest of this job at the Abomination Vaults to you. And you've just finished a chilling conversation with the purveyors of the local bookstore that has led you to the conclusion that the creature that has tormented Mag from her childhood and now seems to be holding your friend Mark somewhere within the sprawling dungeon is, in fact, a black dragon.
Wild.
So we're picking up right after that. You're back out on the streets of Otari, and it is just around 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, has anyone else like spent any time this week kind of just reeling from the fact that this thing is like a sadistic swamp dragon?
Yes, it's
Or
so
is that-
awesome.
It's a lot.
Or is
We're
or is that
dragon
just-
hunting, baby.
or is that just me who's been obsessing about this character for the last 3 years?
I'm trying not to think about it too much because because when I think about it, all I can think then is total party kill.
Yeah, I mean, that's crossed my mind as well.
Like, well, there's the end of our adventure. That was
Right.
fun.
Right. Yeah. Perhaps unlike at other points in her life, Mag is absolutely ready to confront this thing. And I'm not sure she would have been at the start of this adventure.
Is it because of the friends she made along the way?
Yes. I think leveling up helped, but also the friendship thing that you said. Well, no, and I don't know, like actually going through stuff and coming out the other end and having people believe her and starting to believe in herself differently. I think those are all factors. So kind of the friends she made along the way and the townspeople she was able to browbeat into seeing her point of view.
And getting assurance in athletics, right? That had to lower her pulse rate a little bit.
She is ready to take on this thing because of assurance in athletics. That's right.
This dragon picked the wrong people to mess with. Does this dragon understand how assured with athletics this party is?
Yeah. But anyway, I think Mag would also want to get some gear or some consumables or some stuff to be able to fight this type of dragon.
And as you say that, I think Istin was like, "Ooh, sorry, I forgot something," and ducks back into Morlabent and Carl's place, and comes out. Hopefully, if you guys will approve the expense of 12 gold, with a scroll, level 2 scroll or spell rank 2, I suppose, Bao Chicka Wow Wow, of resist energy to try and learn it in his spare time.
Ooh, what's resist energy do?
Well, it basically gives resistance of like a type of energy damage you choose, which includes, I'll point out, acid damage.
Nice.
Maybe fire?
Smart.
Also fire. Although I think
okay.
black dragons deal, like each color dragon does a different color or different flavor of energy.
So it
And I
doesn't
think
breathe
acid
fire
is-
and acid. It breathes acid.
I think
gotcha.
so. But I've been wrong about any number of things before in my life.
I think
so-
that the information that you've learned about this dragon, like in world, that is confirmed for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. But yeah, if I casted heightened though at my current highest spell rank slot, it's damage resistance 10, and you can target up to 2 creatures who might be, say, in the front lines against said dragon. And so that could be a good thing for whenever we're going a dragon slaying.
That sounds like
Nice.
a good economy of action there.
We talked about going to Rin's to see if Rin knows anything more about these lenses, and I think while we're there, Mag would want to pick up some resistance potions as well. Never hurts to have 2 sources of
Agreed.
that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys are heading over to Ren's Wonders then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
AKA my pad.
a.k.a. Ao's home, in
Ao's
fact.
crib.
Yeah, just to refresh your memory, Rin's Wonders is it's a shop that sells adventuring gear, eclectic bric-a-brac, magic items, including consumables like potions. So that information, the idea of getting a potion of resistance here absolutely makes sense. The shop is a tent that is set up on the river that works its way through town. So it's kind of got this like bohemian sensibility as you approach it, and you step inside and you see Rin Savinxi, the proprietress of this store. Of course, an elven tiefling woman with long, like ethereal white and green hair. And Rin says to Ao, "Well, I'm glad to see that you finally decided to bring your friends around to say hello."
Oh, hi. I don't think we've been introduced before. I'm Iston. The full name is Istanavel, but I just go by Iston because I feel like that's enough. You know, like I don't need to say, I'm Istanavel
I know who
Volis.
you are. I know who you are.
Ao like rolls her eyes. She was like sort of annoyed by Rin being welcoming, just for no good reason, just cause.
Yeah.
And now she's like annoyed that it's going well. So she's like, "Yeah, I brought them. Okay, like." And then you're gonna be like, "I know who they are," and then whatever. We need your help, okay?
Yes, of course. How can I help?
We want you to join our forces and come fight a dragon. No, it was like
Underleveled.
Big ask.
There's this thing with this cave. Like we went in the dungeon and we went really deep, deeper than we'd ever been. And there's this Gug who's like in a cave, and we think maybe the cave is the magical power where the essences will become one. The Gug has this lens, see, and like maybe it goes to the lighthouse, because like don't lighthouses have lenses?
Can you please describe the lens?
Like creepy glass with kind of blood in it, but really pretty, and like maybe a body could host it and become powerful.
How big is the lens? Are we talking a lens for an eye, a lens for an eyeglass? Something like more plate-sized?
Like the size of a Gug's hand?
That's what I was thinking, Trill. Yeah.
I don't know, like is this metric or
Seeing you hold your hands up like this, and it seems about the size of a saucer that you're
saucer?
describing.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that you're so interested in an object about this size, and you're not at all interested in washing the dishes that I have told you to wash time and time again. I dug saucers exactly that size out of the dirt surrounding my tent this morning.
Trill hides behind a curtain a little bit as it's going on about the dishes she helped Ao hide.
Mag begins doing dishes.
See? Is it so hard? Mag, honey, you don't have to do that, please. Please, that's Ao's job. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying, if you showed a fraction of the interest in your chores that you do in these lenses, this place wouldn't look like such a pigsty, Ao.
Yeah, but then like we'd never get to harness the light and control it. We can't take care of dishes if we don't understand the lens.
Fine. Tell me what you know about these lenses, please.
Well, it's the pretty saucer-sized thing with the kind of blood stuff, and then, I don't know, you guys heard some voices? What did the voices say?
Find the essences and place their essences together within a host.
Okay.
The essences shall become one, Mag mutters to herself as she continues to scrub the hell out of a cast iron.
Good point, Mag.
What do the lenses do when you combine them?
They shall become one?
I think they're supposed to defeat Belcora Harvex, though the mechanism by which that's accomplished is not entirely obvious as of yet.
Belcora, she is a ghost. Yes.
Oh,
is.
she's
Okay.
definitely a very active, present ghost.
She starts pacing around the room, and she's like, ghosts are pulled back to the plane on which they lived their lives because they have unfulfilled business. So, what do we think Belcora Haravex's unfulfilled business is?
Destroying Absalom.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, I'd really prefer to.
But she'll stay here until she's completed this task of destroying Absalom, so you can strike her down as many times as you want to, and she'll always rejuvenate. She'll reappear in the center of wherever her power is coming from. So, perhaps these lenses provide another way to permanently remove the ghost from the situation. I wonder what power it is that these lenses, I wonder how it works.
It's all somehow connected to Nimbleoth, isn't it?
I don't know. Without having a lens to actually look at, I'm afraid I'm not much use beyond just empty theorizing. Maybe if you manage to get your hands on one of these things, there's more that we could learn from it together. Perhaps we could ask the stars for guidance.
Yes, the stars.
Would astrology lore come into relevance for that?
I'm afraid it would be, yes.
At long last, Ao says to herself.
What if the lenses are for a telescope that allows us to look up at the stars?
Yeah, if we just host it within ourselves, then we can channel the light, project it to the stars.
I don't know how we're
big
putting
did you
glass inside ourselves. This is not a good idea.
I need to see this thing. I didn't see it. If you think you can put this thing inside yourself somehow, it's just not something I'm able to imagine right now. But again, if we were to look at it together, yes.
The essences shall become one.
No, I understand that, but how do you...
Understand, Rin? Or do you just hear it?
Do you understand?
It's a question that I suppose you've got me stymied there. I think I'm hearing it. I think I understand it. Tell you what, you retrieve one of these lenses and you bring it here. You show me the physiological way in which you anticipate hosting 4 of these things. And then we can consult the stars and see what the stars have to say about this.
Mag finishes scrubbing the last of, I guess, Ao's cereal bowls.
Mag, you didn't have to do that, but thank you so much. Thank you. Ao, why can't you be more like that?
And Mag ignores this. We'll try to recover one of these lenses to bring to you for whatever kind of diagnostics.
Because
whether
Rin,
observation or scrying.
Ao interrupts, turning it to Norman. Because I'm a dentist, and he starts poking around in Mag's mouth while she's talking her finger in there.
And Rin just puts her hands on her hips and just shakes her head.
Mag is pulling her head back from Norman's and kind of sort of trying to whack away the probing implements and says, Rin, one thing that might help us bring one to you sooner.
Yes.
We have reason to believe that in the same area as these lenses is what we've been told is a black dragon.
Oh my. A black dragon this close to town. Okay.
If our understanding is correct, it's been much closer to this town at times. As close as the outskirts, at times perhaps even briefly entering the town itself. And it seems as though we'll need to confront it and dispatch it.
How could I possibly help?
Have you ever known anyone who's encountered one of these things and lived to tell the tale?
Of course, I've heard many stories about these creatures, but I've never known one to overcome them.
I suppose, do you have anything here in the shop that could help to acid damage? The issue would be acid. Do you have anything that can make it
yes,
not acid?
Of course.
On my on my. What's the thing that Mrs. White does in the Clue movies?
Flames.
Flames.
The side,
Acid
my face.
on the side. Acid burns on the side. Of my
And she
face.
says, "Yes, of course. I have plenty of potions that can help you with that." And she runs to the corner of the room and sweeps a bunch of swirling, multicolored potions into her arms. And she says, "How many of these would you like?"
Oh, maybe 4.
That'll be 162 gold pieces. That's a discount, by the way.
Mag has no idea how much gold we have at the moment.
You have a lot. It's
We have
fine.
a
It's
lot,
like, we've got
right?
that. 160's
I
fine.
just think it's funny that the way this game works is that like
She's
the
gonna charge
thing
me
that
for
you
it.
get from being her friend is she gives you a 10% discount, and she's like, "Yes, of course I'll help you. By the way,
Yeah. If you make it worth
I want
a
you to
while.
know I'm not gonna take a loss on this. Okay? There's
Black
just
Dragon
no way.
schmaggin'.
Yeah,
Fly
so-
lines is what keep the town humming.
So Mag reaches into the petty cash, P for
Yeah.
petty cash within the bag of holding
Uh-huh.
and pulls out 160 doubloons.
Okay.
Otari bucks, whatever it is.
Otari bucks. It's a debit system that they have at Otari, like Dave and Buster's. It's
That makes
the values scale over time. Unfortunately, you blew everything you own on a potion of resistance. It's too bad, but anyway, the economy keeps moving. Yeah, so she's happy to sell you these 4 potions of resistance, no problem. She says, if this is able to help you in any way, I'm glad to devote these to your cause.
But before they leave Rin's, Mag wanders over to a shelf of curios against one wall, and there's like a bunch of, I'm guessing, I don't know, crystals and maybe fossilized fossils and hunks of petrified wood and sort of nature things, nature treasures.
I see you're admiring our nature treasures section.
And what is this one? And Mag picks up a small crystal that has inside it a streak of light blue, and she holds it up to her face. We see the dancing light blue, ethereal light blue glow. This is Lars. This is meant to be this is a flavor rock. This is not a mechanical rock.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know.
Rin looks at you and she says,
You can not know what the hell it is. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not sure exactly what this one is. What drew your attention to it, Mag?
The color, says Mag. And she takes it and she stows it away in her own pouch, not in the bag of holding. And she tosses Rin coinage in the amount of 90% of its sticker price.
She says, "Thank you for those 300 platinum pieces you just gave."
Jesus.
Wow.
That's
Well, it's going to come in handy,
probably
though, Mac. I'm sure of it.
more than we have.
Pricey.
She's like, "I just wanted to let you know, we're closing up shop. I'm moving after this. No refunds. We're done here. This is everything I've ever dreamed of, is selling that dumb rock. And now it's happened. Yes. Thank you, stars." So Mag tucks this strange, fluctuating blue rock thing away, and what's next?
There's like nothing else that will help us fight a dragon so that like I don't die and can't come back and wash the dishes.
Oh, okay. Well, then you put it that way. Let me look at your character sheet real quick and see if I have any ideas of stuff you might want to buy.
Whatever, you're like a guardian figure. You're supposed to be helping me out.
She kind of raises a good point.
Yeah, it's just there's just a little more hand-holding than I was expecting, to be perfectly honest.
Being very
But a lot
generous,
of
Lars.
dental cleaning, says Ao, going
That's true.
back to
It's
Norman
true.
yet again.
It's so true. It's so
Mm.
true. Thank you. Thank you.
It do be that way.
It do-
Like
it-
when the
it do.
dentist is asking you questions, but you've got their hands in your mouth.
Yeah. She hold on. You're like, what should I have? Give me a second.
Just if Ren had an idea of something that would help.
Yeah, sure. Let me give me a second.
Maybe we should get some more of those pastries that give us extra actions.
Yeah, Rin is like, sorry, there's some stuff you should have, but it's not available in this town, so I guess you just gotta find it, sorry.
Cool. Checks out.
No.
Hopefully the people that wrote this adventure included armor that's better than what you're currently wearing. Otherwise, good luck. Anyway, we're closing up. Goodbye. Please leave. And she slams the door in the tent and shoves you out on the street. And you feel compelled to go somewhere else with something else that you might do.
Ayo, don't you live there?
Not anymore.
Does she do that often?
Yeah, she's pretty hot and cold as far as wanting you there and then not wanting you there. And
So you find yourselves back out on the streets of Otari in front of this, in front of the tents and stones that are connected via these ropes that Rin uses to keep her always open, always outdoor shop running. It's currently 11:30 or so in the morning. And what would you like to do next?
Dunge.
Dunge.
Is it time to dunge? Is it time for Tony Dungy and Dragons?
Yeah.
Great. So you are once more finding yourselves entering the dungeon, going down the elevator that leads down to the 8th floor, as this ancient thing lurches its way down into the area below. And so after this long journey, you are once more standing on the dock in the northern portion of this dungeon. And where would you like to head next? There are two options that seem like likely candidates to me. You know that there's this extra business with the Calignes, where Erthagul, the Gug that is dwelling in the caverns that have these whispers in them. You know that Erthagul is holding a lens that is of some potential great use to you, but you also know that Mark, your friend who was presumably taken hostage by the Black Dragon that you're gathering information on, Mark swam towards the west. So I don't have a great sense of exactly where your search is going to begin today, but if you have any thoughts, please let me know.
I mean, I feel like now that we've gotten the support of the Caligny, right? So we can now just go try and rescue Mark, and we'll have Dulac's favor to get the information to kind of get through and work with
Galudu?
Galudu, yeah. So you know that Dulac is putting in a good word with you and that you will be likely to be received with open arms by other Caligni should you find them.
And it seems like the lens is going to be probably safe with a Gug guarding it for the foreseeable future, so...
Oh, wait,
seems
isn't
like a steady state.
to the west where that other group are living with the Huglu's people, and Huglu's probably still in that closet that we shoved him in?
You know that the Urdefons that Huglu is one of the warriors of, you know that they live down some kind of chasm, is what it is that you know about them. It's interesting the point that you bring up, Armat, about the lens being safe while being held by Erthagul. You wonder if perhaps there are other people or other entities nearby who have made the same calculation as you.
I don't know. Mag would probably be after the dragon this time. And she also knows, like, we've all been stalked by this thing now. Like, it knows we're down here, and it's dangerous when it knows we're down. Like, better to go to it than to have it catch us unawares.
Like
Good
if
call.
you're weighing the immediate danger to the group, the dragon trumps the whatever the long-term goal of the lens is.
No question. It's learned that not only is Mag here, and so it's doing its weird, sadistic stalking thing to Mag. It's begun doing that to everyone who's along with Mag, and by extension. So, that seems like go to it. Don't let it come to us.
Last time you took these rowboats that you are now climbing into, these 2 rowboats that have been maintained by the bog mummies known as the Children of Belcora. Last time you took these rowboats, you took 2 of them. You didn't all load up into one rowboat, you took 2. Is that what you would like to do this time?
I think so. Because if there's ideally you're, maybe not on this exact outing, but our goal is to rescue Mark. So
I was going to say, I think if we're
Totally.
getting Mark, we need more space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 4 of you load into 2 of these rowboats, and you start rowing towards the west. You row through the section of the cavern where you rescued Bertie Graham, where 3 Bodaks had taken up residence in caverns set into the wall of this swampy area, and you start rowing down to the south past the masonry structure, this shack that it was built into the side of the this river that you're going down, and that's where you faced the spirit naga that was the erstwhile boss of the bog mummies. And you continue down to the south to an area that looks particularly war-torn, where a battle with a hulking reptilian amphibian creature known as a froghemoth was the site of your rescue of Margot Jensen and Bevrin Dralfo. And you tie those boats up that you have taken to the edge of this lake that then abuts a forest of multicolored fungal growth that stretches out in front of you. Some of these mushrooms are up to your ankles. Some of them are as high as your waists, but there's a serene, natural feeling as you approach this area. And as you scan past this fungal forest, you see the fisherman's shack where Bevrin and Margot made their last stand against the froghemoth. But you also see some more structures down here on the southern reaches of this fungal forest. So, what would you like to do next?
How much did you hate saying fungal forest?
I like saying fungal forest because this thing is coded like it's gross and strange. The problem that I have with mushrooms is when people are like, yum, I ate it. And I'm like, what are you talking about, brother? Like, what are you doing putting that in your mouth? That's it's poison. It's a poison that you're willfully ingesting into your weird face.
Says the man who has a beer with him right now.
Yeah, that's a liquid though. Like, how do they make beer? They take a mushroom and they chop it up and then they put it in a beer bottle? You think that I don't know that I live in a world that's filled with fungal spores everywhere? You think that what is it that you think is going through my head at any moment of the day? Anyway, this
Oh God, there are fungus spores everywhere.
Vaguely, yeah. My son made a jack-o'-lantern, and it was awesome. He made this cool ass thing with my wife. It's I've never successfully made a jack-o'-lantern before. We kept it in our apartment, and then in 3 days, it grew the most grotesque white strands of fungus poking out of its eyes and stuff. And I was just like, life is a goddamn nightmare. Why is any of this the way that it is?
Yeah.
That's the big
Michelle
question.
Webeck agrees with you.
Life is a goddamn nightmare. For everything else, there's Purell.
Honestly, if you think
Pretty
I
good,
wasn't
line.
mainlining any sort of like my stash of COVID era hand sanitizer that I've filled an entire closet in my apartment with. You think I wasn't like getting friendly with that immediately after this jack-o'-lantern
Just wipe
experience?
the jack-o'-lantern down with that. It'll be fine.
Imagining you power washing a pumpkin with hand sanitizer.
Yeah. And in doing so, consequently breeding a hand sanitizer resistant breed of fungus, which is going to, of course, kill us all.
The
Yeah.
circle
Well done,
of
sir.
life.
Sorry.
I
had to.
So we're in this fungal forest.
Yes, you are.
Oh my God, we are.
Really putting the fun in fungal.
Ooh.
I'll take
So
it.
what do we see?
You see basically the things that I described. There's this fungal forest stretching out to the south. There are a few structures that you see on the far southern end of this fungal forest. There is the structure of the fisherman's shack. And as you move around to the east, there seems to be some sort of a bridge leading across a chasm. So basically the question is, do you want to investigate these sheds that seem to be set into the wall here? They look almost like gardening sheds. Like they're decrepit, they're decaying, they're falling apart. They haven't been tended to for a very, very long time, but they're built into the natural landscape as though they are being used to tend to the surrounding area.
And they're here. They're calling to us. I feel like that's the place to look first before going over the chasm.
Yeah.
Yes.
The menacing cat. Let's knock out these supply closets. Perhaps they have some amazing armor inside.
Perhaps some better armor for AO.
Yeah, maybe they remembered to put some resilient armor in this adventure. Don't hold your breath, everybody. So Mag and Company, Mag in the lead, which is why I'm saying Mag and Company, approaches the northernmost of these three sheds that are set into the wall of the cavern here. As you look at this door, there is a hole set into it. You get the feeling that there would have been a lock here. That lock has been removed, and there are just traces of rust on the edges of the hole that mark where the former lock would have been.
Let's look inside.
Okay. You open the door, and your light shines into a tool shed. And they're just piles of rust around axe handles, other non-metallic things like wooden implements. There is a corpse of a fat monster in the middle of this room. I think that you're all competent enough adventurers to recognize this as something called a rust monster. And you can maybe discern that this creature got into this shed, rusted all of the implements here, and then something killed it.
Does it have any teeth left? Asking for a friend, literally.
I don't know if rust monsters have teeth. Let's take a look at some art, shall we?
Ooh, please and thank you.
This is what a living rust monster looks like.
Oh.
This thing has fallen apart, however.
Oh my gosh, it looks like something that crawled out of my sink.
Yeah, it looks vaguely like a rusty shrimp. It's got long antenna extending from it, like a seahorse perhaps, and it's chomping in this artwork upon a decaying metal disc that is being disintegrated by rust.
Gross.
Well, should we try the other room?
I mean, did we inspect this room?
I guess, yeah, we should. Let's look around.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that AO is searching, so
Yes.
you haven't picked anything up in this room.
Cool.
And Trill is usually searching as well, and you haven't found anything here.
Okay.
As you walk through the room, sifting through these implements, rust falls through your fingertips, and you don't find anything of any value in here.
Well, that's a bummer.
Would the presence of this creature tell us anything about the area that we don't already know?
Well, it tells
Or
us
like, I don't know.
there's something tougher than a rust monster, which
Give me
Could've been the
somebody
dragon.
if you want to know like what it is that killed this monster. Give me some kind of check, and if you score well, I'll tell you.
Swamp lore? Survival?
Yeah, for sure. Swamp lore sounds
Okay.
great.
Occultism?
Occultism
Can
sounds
also
pretty
do a
good.
medicine check.
Arcana?
Medicines check sounds good. Arcana sounds less good, but I'll take it.
Won't tell you anything, but he'll allow you to roll it.
Ao gets the sense, looking at the body of this rust monster, as though it was perhaps bitten or beaten by a number of very, very small creatures. And you perhaps reach the conclusion that the children of Belcora killed this creature.
Oh, poor thing.
Okay.
It did destroy all their fungal, growing implements.
I mean, it was just hungry.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make friends with one, go right ahead. I won't stop you, but, call when you want me to get it you away from it.
No, I see what you're saying. I get it. Okay.
The conclusions that you draw here are basically just, there's a tool shed, pests got into it, and the children of Belcor who are managing the tool shed exterminated the pest.
All right, Mag's ready to.
Okay. You advance to
Ready
the
to
next door.
Yeah.
And this stone building, this second shed, looks from the outside like some kind of a storage room. And you open the door, and you see a pile of wood in one corner of it, and with a bundle of axes and saws around it. There's something strange about the wood, though.
Can Istin go and look at the wood?
Istin steps towards the wood and checks it out. This wood it's not wood from a tree. This is fungal wood. This is planks of harvested fungus turned into wood.
That's
This is
brilliant.
brilliant. Oh, that's so cool. I bet growing this as a material is incredibly sustainable down here.
It grows so much faster than trees. It's brilliant.
Totally. I mean, trees without light is a big ask when you're, 7 floors beneath
Is-
Earth.
Is it edible?
Istin tries to bite at
You
it.
should probably saute it first. You shouldn't eat mushrooms raw.
Ooh, a little butter. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Istin chomps into this plank of wood.
And dies.
It doesn't seem as though this fungus is edible. This fungus has been turned into, building material, but there certainly seems as though edible fungus abounds in this area.
Yeah, I think I might have cracked a tooth, actually. Hey, is Norman available? Like, does he have an appointment?
And NAO whirls around with a flourish, like her.
Oh, God, what have I done?
And is Norman by the right here, bud.
Right, just take a look,
Yeah, we're gonna need to extract that.
You say that to all your patients, don't you?
Well, keep it safe. And he pats at the, increasingly heavy bag of teeth hanging off of his bandolier.
While this is happening, Mag is looking over her shoulder, like literally looking over her shoulder. She's distracted. She's and worried or preoccupied. It doesn't feel wise to her for any of us to be letting our guard down. So she's keeping guard up for all 4 of us.
Yeah. Let's call that, in game terms, scouting for enemies.
Yeah.
Cool.
And like normally she might step in and sort of poke around and investigate the pile of stuff and see if and she just is not. Like she's outside the door. She's hyper scanning, hyper scouting. She's very vigilant.
Hyper scouting. I like it.
Yeah.
So we don't find anything with that in here, basically? Let's move
Yeah,
on.
this is just a shed. There is one more shack, though.
Oh, there's one more shot.
Let's
Is it the
Go
love
to-
shack?
there.
It's a little old place where we
Tin
can.
roof.
There's a Chrysler in here that's as big as a whale.
It's a little old place where we can roll initiative.
We could use a whale-sized Chrysler so we don't have to keep going around in these tiny rowboats.
The Otari Shack. That's my Fred. Otari Lobster.
We're gonna fight a scary black dragon.
But it wasn't a dragon. Okay. So this next door of this next shed, you open the door, and this shed seems like it was lived in more recently, but you don't see any inhabitant in here. This is a shed that's filled with gnawed bones, discarded scales of fish, and a pungent reptilian smell. But whatever it is that lived here is not here right now. There is something shiny in the corner of the room, though.
Oh, Trill goes to the shiny.
Within the meal of whatever it is that is having its meals here, within the detritus left behind by this creature, you find a set of magical-looking armbands that look like they could give a bonus to athletics checks and can help with swimming and climbing.
These armbands are pretty nice. Anyone particularly interested in them?
Typically, I would say Mag is already a very good swimmer.
Yeah, I feel like
an underwater
it's,
breather. I think
Arguably, you can't get better.
Yeah, maybe if this is Iston?
I think it would be better for Iston to be more water capable.
Yeah.
Or from a combat standpoint, if you want to go the other way and say Trill should take it so that if she is like hurled into the water, she can survive it. I could see that too. But either way, I don't think it's a mag item this time.
This adds a bonus to athletics. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a +2 item bonus to athletics, and then
that's definitely more of an
item
Iston
bonuses to
need.
climbing and swimming.
I would love to take that.
Iston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Skilled All Work has imprinted images of a muscled weightlifter into these tiered leather bands, which grant you enhanced stamina and skill when performing athletic exercises. These are armbands of athleticism.
That's what it says in the tin.
Yeah.
And they
Boy,
make his
I feel like,
biceps
yeah,
and
Max-
triceps look even bigger and better defined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chiseled. This is like Magwood. Oh my god, it's such a mag thing, and it's just like I don't think it actually makes sense for her to wear them.
Good for us then.
And as Trill and Ao are searching this area, you find a secret door. It doesn't look like it's been disturbed. Whatever it is that lived here or lives here or whatever it is, it doesn't seem like they know about this door because it's trivially easy for you to find the panel that pushes this door open, and it looks like it's been undisturbed for a very long time.
Ooh.
I picture Trill like putting her little face up against it in her hands and very gently just giving a chunk to push in the panel.
Okay. The door slides to the side, and you are looking into a hallway, and as you proceed down this hallway, another door opens into another of the teleportation chambers that you have found throughout the dungeon here. There are silver runes carved all over the floor and walls of this round chamber.
I think we found at this point, we're not very good at activating them at these lower levels.
I think
You
that
take that back.
Yeah, I think you should take that back. I don't think it's that you're not good at activating them. I think it's either they're insanely hard to activate, or there's like a typo somewhere in the instructions for how to activate them, because it's like
Or we just build weak
ridiculous.
characters.
Or you just build weak characters.
Yeah.
At a certain the scaling of these DCs that they want you to use to activate the teleportation circles way outpaces your growth as characters. I'm keeping it rules as written here just because I kind of like the idea of like the magic just becoming like you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to add the flavor to these chambers that you can kind of manage the earlier chambers, but as you get deeper and deeper and deeper, it's just like incomprehensible how magic could exist to reactivate these chambers. So that's the sensation that you get here.
Yeah, I mean the planar scaling in these sort of energy runes is mad. They have each like looping subsections of rune loops to like further increase the depth here. I mean, I don't even understand.
Have you ever
it,
seen anything like this, buddy boy? Norman says?
No, I mean, frankly, all the other magic here is, pretty standard, but Jesus, these portals.
Yeah, I'm okay with just leaving this one here now that we know it's here.
Iston looks longingly at it and it's like, one day.
When you head back outside this shed, you're standing in the midst of the fungal forest here. You look around this area, and the fungal forest continues to grow high, but you also see indications that this area was recently tended. Like it's been clipped and harvested. There are rocks that outline sections of healthy growth, and paths are clear, aside from like small amounts of mold and fungus. As you walk through this area, there's bioluminescent moss that provides a low, even glow as though it's been intentionally cultivated for that effect.
Trill like runs her hands along it.
It's so pretty.
Is it soft? I bet it's soft.
It's so soft. I just want to, I could just like curl up in this and have the glowiest, softest sleep.
I bet your dreams would be amazing.
And as you trace your fingers along the fungus, there are just small little puffs of bioluminescent spores that burst into the air around you, and like this soft green-yellow light sort of cascades down around you.
How lovely.
I feel like it just feels like Trill's on stage or something. Like the lighting and the smoke, it just feels magical. That's very
You
cool.
look out towards the east, and there is a wide stone bridge that spans across a massive chasm. You can see from here that across that chasm, there is a gigantic, like a 10-foot wide iron ladder that descends down into the darkness of the chasm on the far side of the bridge. And as you look out into the distance beyond the bridge and this ladder, the fungal forest becomes more overgrown, like it looks less cultivated in that direction.
Can we cross the bridge?
I think it's probably time. And Lars, you were saying earlier that there was one group of
The Erdefons, they live in
right.
the chasm, right?
They live in a chasm, so it's plausible this is that chasm.
Based on the description that Huglu gave you, it seems likely that this is that chasm.
Okay.
He said it was just past where the froghemoth was. So Istin leads the way across this bridge. And as you step across the bridge, you can see that the fungus is growing to even greater heights. Your feet crunch into the stone of this bridge as you look up. Some of this fungus growth on the far side of the bridge reaches nearly to the high ceiling of the cavern, 50 feet overhead.
Oh, wow.
You look and you can kind of see that there are paths leading into this overgrown forest, but there are patches of smaller fungus or slime obstructing many of these pathways. Spores are drifting in the air in this overgrown forest out in front of you, and huge red blooms on the fungi shift as though in a wind, although there's no wind here. As you step on this bridge, 2 of those huge red fungal blooms detach with a pop off of their stalks, and they start floating towards you as though on a gentle breeze. And I need everyone to roll for initiative.
Damn.
Yeah.
Roll for initiative.
Oh, this can't be good.
This was a spore choice.
Bravo.
Excellent.
Gotta get a fungus pun in. I feel like Ao is sort of hanging back on the bridge, or Norman, I guess we are right now.
Yeah, I'm going to push all of you about halfway back on this bridge.
How do we feel about a stealth sitch?
Yeah, I believe that you're stealthing. I'm going to ask Norman or Ao to be a little further back to make that make sense, but yes.
Got it.
Let's go around the horn as these blooms detach and start floating towards you. How did Zoe? How did Norman do on initiative? Here?
36. Norman's feeling ready.
And that's a stealth initiative. Norman is hiding in the shadows as this happens. Armat, how did Istin do on initiative?
Not great. He got a 7 on the die for a 22, so I think He's probably looking at the forest, like marveling at how tall these growths are and just generally being his over-enthusiastic self.
Okay, Istin, slightly awestruck and slightly slowed. Robin, how did Trill do here?
Trill, I think, was super distracted by the pretty mushrooms because I only rolled a 3, so she got a 19.
So Trill, very, very slow. And David, how did Mag do?
It's only a 23 for Mag. I imagine Mag is looking over her shoulder so constantly that she's not actually as focused on what's in front of her as she would otherwise be.
Trill is on the far side, on the western edge of this. Go ahead. Yes, Robin, what's up?
Wait, did we actually, I guess we've got these fungus things.
Sure.
I'm trying to figure out if Trill could even battle cry them.
Absolutely you could. I had you roll initiative.
Yeah, I rolled initiative.
Go ahead and battle
Okay.
cry.
Let's go ahead.
Just
and give that a
kidding. They're
try.
immune to mental effects. They're funguses. Don't worry
That's what I
about it.
kind of figured. They just looked like big old mushrooms.
Yeah, they're just big old mushrooms. Trill screams in their faces, sees that there's no effect. These creatures do not have minds to speak of. But Trill is on the far western side of this chasm. Norman, Mag, and Istin extending their way out over an infinitely, as far as you can tell, deep chasm on their left and right. This is something that, as you can see, that there's something wrong here. These fungal blooms floating towards you. This is a vulnerable position to be in. We're going to start this off. It is Norman's turn. What is Norman going to do to kick off this encounter as 2 large, blood-red fungal blooms descend on the wind towards you?
I bet nothing bad happens when these things explode.
Yeah.
All right. I think Norman is going to take one step back and fire off 2 quick arrows, getting a sense that he's got them off guard since he's been so sneaky and so fast. I think the only one that I can get to directly is the one straight ahead.
So there's one here towards the southern edge of the bridge. There's another here that's it's drifting towards you, but it's still within the branches of the fungus that it's detached from. I'm going to say that it's concealed at this moment. So
How
the
about
one that is to the south
is not?
is easily a clear shot for Norman.
Okay, great. So 2 quick arrows at that friend. All right, first one's a 27 to hit.
Yeah, absolutely, that hits.
All right, that is 12 points of damage.
Okay, the arrow from Chompers punctures this fungus, and you see that it's taking more than that, as like the piercing damage from this arrow takes a chunk out of the fungus, and spores start spraying into there. This cloud of red spores fills the air. Because of your new debilitating strike option, you can either slow them down or you can enfeeble them if you'd like to.
And enfeeblement just gives them one less action?
It makes their strength 1 lower, which means if they're using strength to hit you, they'll hit you worse.
And the other option was slowing them?
Was a 10-foot status penalty to their speeds.
Got it.
I'm going to do enfeeblement. Let's do it.
Okay, great.
All right,
Let's get the next shot from the arrow.
next shot. That is a less strong 17 to hit. Maybe the cloud
And-
of spores is distracting.
The cloud of spores definitely gets in the way. That arrow misses, but you get the sense just from that initial strike that piercing damage puncturing the outside of these creatures is a good way to get rid of this fungus.
All right.
Okay.
Giddy up.
That fungus that was just attacked by Ao floats in the air slowly towards Istin.
Oh dear.
First, before it moves any closer to Istin, a gout of spores flies through the air towards Istin, and that is a 25 to hit.
That misses.
Then the fungus floats in the air, slowly down on towards Istin here on the ground. And then a bloom of fungus blows up in Istin's face, and that is a 25 to hit.
That is also a miss.
Okay. The fungus on the far side, on the deep in this fungal forest, starts floating down as well. A plume of spores are going to go out towards the closest enemy towards them. That's going to be Istin again. This is a 32 to hit.
That'll hit.
And a jet of spores is going to do 11 poison damage to Istin as this creature then floats down. So it's hovering over the bridge, and then another spore, another bloom explodes in Istin's face. That's a 15 to hit.
That will not hit.
Okay. It is Mag's turn. Mag has just seen 2 fungal blooms, blood red fungal blooms, each the size of a beach ball, descend slowly through the air, spraying spores all over Istin. What is Mag going to do?
She's not quite in reach of either of these things. So she's going to step up, and she'll start with an Earthbreaker strike to the one that is... that puts her to the north of Istin, so the one that's directly in front of her there, which we have yet to try and bop. So here comes a hammer bop. 27 to hit.
27 hits, yes.
Hammer time. 27 damage.
So that is a total of 37 points of piercing damage as Mag takes the sharp end of the Earthbreaker, slams it into the spores, and starts chipping through the exoskeleton or whatever the hell it is that mushrooms have. And it's disgusting. Yes, go ahead. What's next?
Oh man, I should have done a slam down. Never think of that in time. All right. Well, I'll just hit it again. Same roll, but with a map, so it's going to be only 22 to hit.
And that misses. The tip of Mag's Earthbreaker gets caught in the outside of the fungus, and it just sort of boom bounces back into gently into the fungal forest.
I'll trip it for you next time, babe.
It is
Thank
Istin's
you.
turn. Istin has been blown by spores just all over the place in his nose. Maybe Istin is sneezing slightly as the poison from these spores is starting to get into his respiratory system. What is Istin going to do?
Oh, it's like I have to sneeze, but I can't sneeze. You know that feeling? It's
The worst
terrible. I
feeling.
hate these things. So Istin, I think, is just going to start by focusing in on the one that Ao hit previously, and he's going to make a spell strike against it using ignition.
Okay. So you have a little fire damage is able to do a little bit of extra damage to the plant-like outside of this puffball.
Do you have a little thyme and wine sauce to go with that fire damage?
Yeah, I was going to say, get a grease spell going, saute it a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
I'm sure these are poisonous anyway.
They all are, Robin. Okay, let's start with the physical strike.
Okay, so that is a 31 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, awesome. The physical damage for that is 18 bludgeoning.
Okay.
Oh, and
That
I
all seems
need
like it
to
goes through.
re-roll the fire damage because I used D4s
The wrong one. Okay.
instead of D6s.
Great.
So 66. There we go. That is 22 fire damage.
Okay, Istin bonks this puffball. Flame jets all around it, but you don't get the sense that it does anything special. But you have blown through a lot of the plant matter, the fungal matter on the outside of this puffball.
Nice. Good. And then with his last action, he will raise his staff to parry.
Okay, as this then raises his staff on the far side of the bridge, about 20 feet behind, it is now Trill's turn.
You know, some people complain when their characters like, oh, I just do the same thing like every battle and I love that I always know what I'm going to do on Trill's first turn.
Okay, good.
Trill's going to do what she do. These things are mindless, so there's no reason to try and do Dirge or Doom. So instead, she's going to use her Lingering Fortissimo to cast Courageous Anthem.
All right, Courageous Anthem.
And
With a
that's a
lingering-
36.
That's a critical success, so that is 4 rounds of of heroic anthem, Courageous Anthem.
Thank you, Trill.
So now everyone's got a boost for 4 rounds. Yay.
Yes.
So that
yeah.
was first action. I think for her second and third, she's not going to bother moving. And let's go ahead and see how these guys like electricity.
It's a good question. I have to imagine these mindless floating mounds of fungus are not the most reflexy creatures you've ever seen.
Yeah, so let's go
So I
ahead.
could have tripped it.
Send electric arc out.
Okay. So what do I have to do?
So you got a DC 27 basic reflex.
Okay. I'm gonna attempt that. One of these funguses gets a 21, the other one gets a 23.
So they both fail.
Nice.
And they're going to get 18 points of damage.
18 points of damage as Trill sings a courageous song and then frazzles these funguses with electricity, and all of that seems like it goes through.
She's trying to fry them now.
No butter.
No butter, no. Air fry, really. It's the healthier way.
It's very trendy, and I look forward to not eating the product. Okay, it is now the beginning of round 2, and Istin and Mag are on the far side of a bridge up above a bottomless chasm, standing between Trill and Ao as Norman and 2 large blood-red puffballs. It is now Ao's turn. Unfortunately, Ao does not have either of these creatures off guard to her at this time, off guard to her at this time, because it's not the first round anymore. So I'm not sure what the best strategy is here, but let's see. What do you think, Zoe?
I assume you can't create a diversion with something you believe to be mindless.
I think that's true, yeah. You know that these are mindless because Trill screamed at them and nothing happened.
All right. Well, I think feeling emboldened by his last success, Norman is just gonna fire an arrow at try one arrow to the one on the south again, just to see if maybe he can keep chipping away at it.
Okay.
That is a 34 to hit.
A critical hit only because of the Courageous Anthem.
Wow, look at that.
Awesome.
Love to hear it.
And that is 29 points of piercing damage.
And that is actually 39
Right.
because of this creature's weakness to piercing damage. Another large puncture wound, more spores blowing in Istin and Mag's face. Ao has 2 more actions.
All right, gonna fire another arrow. All right, that's another 17 on the second roll.
Okay. That one misses.
All right, I think trying to, feeling like maybe his bravado is fading and his map -10 is unlikely to be a big success, Norman decides to recall knowledge and just see if he can figure out, like, why on earth there are animate spores floating through this cavern.
You can give me whatever you'd like to. Nature seems like the best skill here.
For whom?
Okay.
Okay. Norman gets a good look at this large fungal bloom, this puffball, as it looms in front of Mag and Istin. And Norman, you realize that you have a big problem.
No.
Because when this creature dies,
Mm-hmm.
it is going to explode, dealing a huge amount of poison damage to everything within 20 feet of it.
Oh.
And as Norman reaches that conclusion, we will pick up from there next time.
Lucky thing to realize now, huh?
Yeah,
I'm
seriously.
so tired of things exploding and grossing Trill out.
Let's let him live. Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated fan content policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. The Roots of Ruin is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in The Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Visit our website, tabletopgold.com, to learn more about us and our shows, join the Golden Horde to get access to more shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.